raise your hand at home if you feel like you should get a raise. And now raise your hand if you're comfortable with going to the boss to ask for that. Exactly.
See, I was uncomfortable just putting up my hand in the first question. Well,
Right, because you have the guilt.
Yes.
We'll get to that.
Life coach J.J. DiGeronimo is back with some tips on how to ask for that salary bump and actually get it. Thank you so much for joining us
This
this
is a good
morning.
one.
It is a good one.
Why are we so intimidated? Why are we so scared to ask for
Can't we
that?
just
It's
ask?
almost like the forbidden word, raise.
It is. It is. It's always hard to justify your ask, especially when it's so personal in so many ways.
Yeah. Do you know what I can't stand, if I may have a little soapbox moment, is now with all of this, times are tough and this and that, and we're making cutbacks, it's like you feel guilty. And that's where it's really hard because we're hardworking people.
We are.
You're hard workers. And at some point, you know, where do you draw that line of the right way to do it so that you get what's deserved?
Absolutely, and this is a great time to do it. Many people are filling out performance reviews, setting their MBOs or management objectives for 2013. So it's great to get on the table what is expected of you. So when you do have the conversation, you have some of those metrics.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, it's one of those, you know, it's tough times. Be thankful you have a job.
So is
but
that being realistic?
yeah, the first step is you have to be realistic. And I do understand that. Some people think
Define
that they're worth a
realistic,
lot
though.
more money than they really are. So you go in there with a more realistic percentage, a more realistic number?
Well, you have to understand what the market is in the area in which you work. You have to understand whether you travel and you know, in and out of the community, what it is nationally and then what it is regionally. So knowing what the job pays in the area in which you work is really important to even understand if you're above, below, or right in the middle before you get started.
Okay. And then scheduling time for the discussion. Maybe if you just run into the boss in the hallway, it's not the best moment.
Yeah, drive-by asks generally are not effective. Right, so scheduling time, and sometimes it's always a great idea even to say, hey, these are some of the things I'd like to discuss. And so not making it all about the ask, but maybe 2 or 3 things that you want to discuss in that meeting.
Okay.
All right. Your next tip is to justify your ask. What's that mean?
Sure. So you want to be able to put forward the work that you've done. That's why it's great to keep track of your weekly performance, whether it's just yourself doing it or a monthly review, so that you can keep track of the things in which you're providing back to the company. And if you can, even map those back to the bottom line, how much you're saving the company, maybe how much you're making for the company. That's always beneficial to justify the work that you're doing so that when you come to ask, you have power behind the punch, right? So I'd like a raise because these are the things that I feel like I'm positively impacting the business.
Proof is in the pudding.
That. I love that. And it's all part of presenting yourself well. It kind of goes hand in
It
hand,
is.
right?
Whether you're a sales rep or not, you're always selling yourself and your skills, not just in the initial interview, but throughout the journey of the job. And so you have to go in knowing that you're selling yourself again for that promotion and presenting yourself in such a way for the promotion. In fact, many people say you should be acting, behaving for the role you desire, not the role you're in.
I love that way of thinking.
Oh yeah,
That's
my first
great.
job out of John Carroll, it was not the greatest job, but they wanted us in suit and ties, and they said dress for where you want to be, not where you're at now.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
The next tip is avoid ultimatums. Just stick to the facts.
Sure. It's so easy to get emotionally charged in these situations and get to, well, if you don't give me this, that's it type of situation. And really, it should be
That's
a
when they said, there's the door.
Right. You don't want the door.
I mean,
most
It's a
of you
give
don't
and
want the
take.
door.
You're part of a team. You're there for a bigger cause. And so really having suggestions of ways to get to your ask. And ultimatums never work. And really trying to stick to the facts. So it's important to do your research and have your data at hand.
It's here's a box and there's the door.
yeah.
Right.
We want to avoid that
There's 10
conversation.
other people that are waiting in line for your job.
And that's why this is such an important conversation.
It really
You're going to be
is.
asking for more than a raise at that point.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So build a plan. Is this something that you're constantly doing, I mean, day to day, week to week, month to month?
Well, it's always good to understand where you are and where you want to go, and keeping track of your milestones are important, that not only you know the work you're doing, but the people that are going to give you the raise know. But whether the answer is yes or no, there should be a plan. So if it's yes, well, is that going to be in the next 4 weeks, the next 4 months? And if it's no, which is fine too, what do I need to do to get there?
Yeah.
So regardless of how the conversation ends, you're building the plan to get to the raise.
And truth be told, it's got to be hard for your boss too.
Yeah.
Think about that. Think about their end of it. It's probably a little tough.
Purposefulwoman.com is where you could find this woman. Thank you so much. Wonderful tips.
Thank you.